Hey y'all, welcome to the podcast Fowl Play, the flaws in poultry production. I'm your host, Farmer Michaela. I want you to imagine a chicken farm in crisis. Birds dying, feed spoiled, and water contaminated. Sounds catastrophic, right? But disasters can be prevented or mitigated with the FLAWS framework. FLAWS stands for Feed, Light, Air, Water, and Security. Today, we're diving into current poultry events impacting some of these FLAWS components. For our first topic, I wanted to cover feed. For this article, I chose WPF releases free training on feeding chickens. I personally think this is an awesome program to get people started into the poultry world. According to Randall Ennis, CEO of the World Poultry Foundation, this module is designed to help small-scale poultry producers grow healthy birds that improve the nutritional status of their families and communities, as well as improve their incomes. The launch of the series shows our commitment to supporting inclusive and sustainable poultry value chains that benefit both farmers and consumers. How will this help backyard flocks, you ask? Well, some of the key factors in ensuring feed framework for poultry is the height placement of feeders. If they are not at eye level, sometimes birds will not eat their food. Secondly, providing proper nutrition for the different stages of life is imperative to growing healthy and good quality birds. Lastly, be sure to have proper feed storage. Moldy or spoiled food can be an unfortunate consequence of excess moisture, and if not prepared for this, it can be detrimental to any poultry production. For more information and to access the training resources stated in this article, visit worldpoultryfoundation.org/initiative/SSP-training-resources/. For our next segment, I wanted to touch on light. The article I chose was called Contact Time is Key When Disinfecting with Ultraviolet Light. According to this article, multiple trials were conducted to test two different ultraviolet light technologies. The first light, Light A, were UVC lights with a lower wavelength allowing for safe human interaction. These lights require more contact time but can remain on and disinfecting 24/7. The second light, Light B, were UVC lights that have a higher wavelength and are unsafe for human interaction. These lights require less contact time but cannot be operational 24/7 due to safety concerns for humans. What does this mean for poultry producers? Well, I think it means that we can clean easier. There are huge benefits of disinfecting with lighting, such as improved immune function. UV light stimulates vitamin D production, which is essential for poultry immune system development. Secondly, it reduces stress. UV light helps regulate circadian rhythms, reducing stress and promoting better sleep in the animal. 3. Enhanced vision. UV light, particularly UVA, helps poultry visualize their environment, reducing stress and improving behavior. 4. Disinfection. UVC light inactivates bacteria, viruses, and fungi, reducing disease transmission. Lastly, it also assists with feather maintenance. UV light actually helps maintain feather health by reducing plucking and stress. Another important aspect of light that I wanted to highlight is lighting schedules. It is very important to mimic natural daylight patterns to regulate circadian rhythms in birds And it is also important to provide a dimming effect to give a more natural feel to our artificial lighting. For our next topic, I'm going to be covering air. For the article I chose, it's called U.S. Farmers Call for Bird Flu Vaccine. In this article, the CEO of Roseacres Farm, Marcus Rust, who is the second biggest U.S. egg producer, wants the U.S. Department of Agriculture to allow vaccinations for avian influenza. The company has lost millions of hens in outbreaks and is making the hard decision to relocate to an Indiana facility for breeding chickens due to the placement of the current facility, which sits across the highway from a wildlife refuge that attracts migratory ducks. Waterfowl are one of the biggest carriers and transmitters of avian influenza. Juliana Leenock, a USDA wildlife disease expert, said, "The only use of a vaccine in the U.S. is in this particular case due to the endangered status of that wild bird. The U.S. vaccinated 94 condors and saw deaths from the bird flu stop completely." How can producers optimize ventilation for their healthier flocks? Ventilation plays a crucial role in reducing the risk of avian influenza in poultry farms. Improved ventilation can help in several ways. It can remove airborne pathogens by reducing the risk of transmission. It reduces ammonia levels. Ammonia can irritate a bird's respiratory system, which can make them more susceptible to diseases like avian influenza. It also helps control temperature and humidity. Optimal temperature for birds is 60 to 80 degrees, and humidity should be around 50 to 70. It can also reduce dust and particulates, which can carry the avian influenza virus. It improves air exchange rates. Regular air exchange rates are 2 to 4 times an hour, which remove stale air and prevent virus buildup. Keeping all this in mind, it's also important to know this disease is highly contagious and cannot be completely eradicated with ventilation alone. Now, I also wanted to add, maintaining optimal temperature and humidity levels will also boost and increase the lifespan of your litter, causing less ammonia buildup and keeping it dry. Thank you for tuning in to Fowl Play, the flaws of poultry production. I hope you were able to learn a little bit about the flaws framework and look forward to listener questions. From last week's episode, I had a question from a listener about what I think is the most important factor to remember when raising chickens. And I would say to learn about normal poultry behavior. Watching your birds is the #1 way to find any issues in the flaws framework. When you know what normal should look like, you will also know what abnormal looks like. Join us next week for conversation on biosecurity, sanitation, and staff. Thanks for joining. Sources used were National Chicken Council, Poultry Times, Watt Poultry USA, USDA, Agricultural Research Service, Poultry Science Association, the Flaws Framework, and thepoultrysite.com.